As promised, I'm wearing the new hoodie that my wife made me. This lovely lady here. Um, it's Lucky 13 for, of course, Jason, and it's got Freddy and
Pennywise.
Pennywise, and it says horror on it, and the fabric on the back is all awesomeness, and it's on the hood too. All the horror icons. So you got Leatherface and Pennywise and little girl from The Exorcist, Reagan, and you got the doll from the Saw movies,
Pinhead.
Pinhead. A lot of fun stuff. Michael Myers, Freddy, of course, Chucky from Child's Play.
Yeah. That was Chucky.
So tonight, where'd I put it? Here it is. I've got the disc here because this is a fantastic movie. Let me in, and I have not got to it yet on my countdown. Yvonne had never seen it, so what did you think?
Never heard of it.
What did you think?
Wasn't bad. That's saying something.
Considering it's a horror movie about a vampire,
I don't know that I'd consider it a horror movie.
it's more of a drama.
It really is. It's a drama with some violent bits in it.
Yes. Let Me In is the American version of I believe it's Norwegian movie. Let the Right One In. The idea that a little girl moves in next door to a little boy who's getting bullied pretty badly,
Yes.
and so she befriends him, and he kind of befriends her, and it turns out that she's a vampire, because this is what happens: boy meets girl, girl likes boy, boy likes girl, girl turns out to be vampire. It is such a wonderful movie, and it's so subtle, and the performances are really good. You'll need to crank the volume on your DVD player or whatever stream you download
Really
it with.
quiet.
It's a very quiet movie.
Really,
It's a
really
very the mood is there. Like there's when they're in the courtyard in the middle there. Notice that the lighting is always an orange gold kind of color, and it's that way in the original too. So that's an intentional design idea. What I really like about it is that it is, and the funny thing is, I like with Let Me In what other people don't, which is that it's almost a shot for shot remake of the original. I don't mind that. When the original's in a different language and it's really excellent, go ahead and do that. The other thing with this was I watched it with my kids when they were younger, and it was all in subtitles. I watched Let the Right One In, the Norwegian one, and they watched it from start to finish. And I knew it was a good movie when my kids were willing to sit through a movie with subtitles in it. I knew that was a sign it was a good movie. I think the boys would like this movie.
They might. I don't know that Malachi would. I think it might be too slow for him.
Kind of boring.
Yeah.
It'd give
It'd
Gabriel nightmares, but I think he'd still like
I'm
it.
sure. I think it would be too slow for Malachi.
And Adelaide would end up behind the couch.
Yes.
So I wouldn't do that.
No.
I wouldn't do that. One of the reasons that I watched this tonight is because the kids are out for an extended weekend. It's a holiday in BC tomorrow. It's Family Day. So what says family better than Let Me In? Chloe Moritz is a sensational actress. So I think it was last year she was in the movie Neighbors 2, and when I saw that in the commercial they were promoting it that she's in a bikini for parts of it, I actually was kind of upset because I don't want to see her end up just being just some Barbie doll in movies, because she's a very good actress and she showed that as a kid, and now that she's a grown up, I would be kind of upset if she ends up just doing kind of Baywatch type roles and vacuous crap, because she's capable of more than that.
Right.
Another movie of Chloe Moritz that she hasn't seen is Kick-Ass, which is also good, but it is ultra violent, so I don't know. There's parts where she really gets beat up, and it's pretty graphic, and I don't know if you could handle that, because you're genuinely worried a couple times that she could die. So, I mean, it's funny. It's a funny action movie. It could be that look. It's
That
funny.
doesn't sound funny at all.
It's a good movie though. So, and if you had to rank this with like all of the vampire movies you've ever watched,
I haven't watched very many vampire movies.
Well, you've seen the original Dracula
Yes.
with
And
Donald Pleasance.
and
Not Donald Pleasance.
the one with Johnny Depp. What vampire movie is that?
Dark
What's it called?
Shadows.
Dark Shadows. I've watched Dark Shadows.
Chloe
'Cause-
Moritz is in Dark Shadows as
'cause
well. She's the
Johnny Depp-
daughter. She's the daughter in Dark Shadows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's the
Right.
one that turns out to be a werewolf.
Oh, right.
And then, Mom, don't make this a thing.
Have I watched any other vampire movies?
Lost Boys.
Oh yeah.
I made you watch Lost Boys.
Thinking I've watched another
When
one.
we first got together, I made her watch Lost Boys. Vampire. Not necessarily with me, unless you've watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie with me.
No, I wouldn't watch it.
Why not? It has absolutely nothing to do with the series. The characters are all completely different. The actress playing Buffy's completely different. And it's got Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman in it.
I know who that is.
He's a vampire.
I
And
think I
Buffy
probably have seen it like
Buffy's
way
played
back
by
when.
Buffy's played by Christy Swanson.
Yeah, I know.
She
I
was
think
going
I
to be my
watched it way
wife,
back
but
when. Yes.
we didn't meet each other, so
Right.
it couldn't happen. Christy, if you're watching, it's a shame. You know, but I'm married now, so you're going to have to just accept the ring. Sorry. It's just not meant to happen now.
Right. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're not in disagreement on this. What would you give this movie on a scale of 1 to 10? Don't say 6.
I know. I was gonna say I give most
Don't
movies
say 6.
the same rating.
That's a C.
That's,
60%'s a C.
That's true. How about a 7?
She wanted to give it a 6.
There were definitely scenes that I didn't watch at all. There was one I didn't look. There was one you covered my eyes for.
Well, he was putting acid on his face.
Yeah,
and you
that's-
saw the acid
nope.
eating through his flesh. So
That's gross.
yeah, and then there was the girl in the hospital that was eating her own blood.
Yes.
I don't think you watched all that.
No.
No. I had remembered that she woke up as a vampire and that she went for the IV, but I didn't remember that part. I thought she just was found sucking on her arm, and I didn't realize that she was stupid as a vampire. That's a pretty stupid vampire to decide I'm going to eat my own blood. That's stupidity.
She was drugged, so.
Yeah, but if she's a vampire, it wouldn't have any effect.
Right.
One of the nice touches in this movie is that Chloe Moritz's vampire character is barefoot in every scene except one.
Yeah.
And in the
She's-
one,
she has the
she wears the
boots
boots to look normal. Every other scene, she's barefoot. I didn't see when she went out playing video games with Owen if she was barefoot in that scene. But I think she was.
I don't remember.
Because then he takes her to that spot, and he's going to do the Blood Brothers thing with her.
She was barefoot.
And I think
there.
she was bare. Yeah, and that was the same
was.
night. So, yeah, don't be a blood brother with a vampire. That's really, 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 really bad planning. Horrible idea. This movie came out in 2010, and what I liked about it coming out when it did, and even the original, is that it came out when the Twilight movies were big. So I had no problem watching this with my kids at the time because the Twilight movies were brain-sucking, horrible, awful, cancerous tumors in the movie theater. And this movie, to me, felt more vampire-like. So I watched this with the kids and said, this is how romance works in the vampire world if it was a real thing. The idea that, you know, a vampire's 800 years old is going to fall in love with a 16-year-old's gross. At least in this, she says, I've been 12 years old for a very long time. And she doesn't keep track of exactly how old she is. And you don't find out. And the one part of this movie that I can't figure out, and I'd be interested to know what you think. Does she care about Owen?
Oh, I think so.
Or does she need him?
I'm sure she does as well.
So
But
is
you
it...
can care for somebody and need them at the same time.
But for her to get from town to town and do things, she needs somebody who can go out during the daylight.
Yeah.
So, since...
Well, she could do without it, but it definitely behooves her to have somebody
to have a protector.
that, yeah.
Unless, and they never get into like Hounds of Hell or any of that in this, so the whole vampire lore, they really don't get into it. But they do show if a vampire comes into your home uninvited, they're basically gonna melt. And I was like, that's a nice touch. I didn't expect that. One of the main differences between this and the original Norwegian version, the original version had no CGI in it. This one has a few scenes with CGI in it. And it's kind of obvious at one point.
It is, yeah.
The first fight she has in the tunnel.
Yeah.
You can tell that's CGI.
And when she climbs the tree.
And the tree climbing, it doesn't look natural.
No.
But other than that, it's really well done, and it's very low key. So if you're not really into horror movies, but you're like, well, the vampire thing could be fun, this is it. And if you think Chloe Moritz, you just know her from Neighbors 2, and you don't think she has any depth to her acting, this is a movie she made when she was probably 13 or 14, and it's fantastic. I still have a firm belief that this girl with the right roles could be the Meryl Streep of her generation. She's got fantastic depth, great little actress, and yeah, I really think that. But they'll probably cast her as the next Catwoman or something and just ruin it.
Right.
Or, maybe she'll be an Amazon in the next Wonder Woman movie, or she'll be in Baywatch 2, The Reckoning, or Baywatch 2, This Time There'll Be Blood. However they put it.
Oh, goodness.
Or the next Emmanuel movie. She'll be flittering around the European coastline having sex with random men. And then I'll lose my will to watch movies anymore. Cause I do that. I will pick actors or actresses and say, this kid's gonna go somewhere. For instance, if you watch Gotham, the kid that plays Bruce Wayne, I think is a fantastic little actor, and I really think that once Gotham's done, I think he's gonna be a decent Hollywood actor in his own right. I think he's gonna be a good leading man. And the girl that's currently playing Catwoman in it as well, I think is gonna be fantastic once she's done with the show. But we'll find out. And Tatiana Maslany, who plays in Orphan Black, I'm really anxious to see what she does with her career now that show's over. So, but Yvonne just watches more for movies. She doesn't really follow actors and actresses.
Nope.
Unless it's Johnny Depp, which I don't get.
I like Tim Burton movies.
But you haven't seen Batman.
Because it's Batman.
But it's Tim Burton's Batman.
I know, but it's still Batman.
And it's Jack Nicholson.
I know.
And Michael Keaton. And Kim Basinger. And it's great. And there's no Harley Quinn. I don't think Harley Quinn had been put into the Batman comics at this point, when that movie was made in 1989. I think she came out in the 90s. This was around the time that comic book writers were like, we got to get more chicks in these comics. Get the teenage boys.
Clothing.
Get the teenage boys to want them. Make them insane and run around scantily dressed. Harley Quinn is born. There might be depth in that character. I don't think they've ever tried, though. They definitely didn't in Suicide Squad.
Right.
But they picked Margot Robbie, so I really can't. I really can't trifle with their choices. Because Margot Robbie, she works as Harley Quinn. Absolutely. Oh, unrelated to this movie, but I read this today, and I wanted to throw this in here too. Star Trek 4 was kind of sidetracked. Now it's back on. So they're going to have it that James Kirk goes back in time and meets his dad, or there's some kind of alternate universe where his dad didn't die, however they do it. Guess who's directing it?
I have no idea.
Quentin Tarantino.
Oh.
They're planning on making it the first R-rated Star Trek movie.
No.
Yeah. So, wait for Samuel L. Jackson to come in and start...
Yeah. No.
Cursing and swearing.
No.
Maybe John Travolta. Hey, maybe they can get Battlefield Earth into this.
Sounds stupid.
That was my thought, too.
Tarantino, no.
They were going to have it directly follow Star Trek Beyond, but now that's kind of gone out the window. So,
sounds like a horrible idea.
It's a really crappy idea.
That's not Star Trek.
Nope. But Star Trek Discovery wasn't Star Trek for the first 5 episodes either. Star Trek Discovery, for anybody watching this, Once you get past the first 5 episodes, it does turn into Star Trek. And now we're 14 episodes in, and I'm very happy to say it's got a lot better, and it's a lot less violent. There's no swearing. All of a sudden, the swearing stopped,
That
and
was stupid.
and it's got a lot better. Don't you think it's got better?
It's better than it was. How it was at the beginning of the season, I didn't really want to watch any more of it.
Yeah.
There were some really disturbing episodes, and really all the swearing was just stupid. That was dumb.
See, and they've taken it out now.
Yeah.
And it's starting to feel like Star Trek. Now they're doing the whole preaching. Starfleet's mission is to basically unite everyone and treat everyone equally and bring a family together. And at the start of it, it was more, let's blow up Klingons.
Yes.
We gonna fight with Klingons. More battling with, and too many scenes with Klingons speaking in Klingon. They haven't had that in a lot of episodes now.
I know, it's good, because that was obnoxious too.
Oh, it's just awful. Because all the Klingons are the same. I'm a homicidal prick, so am I. Let's fight with each other. Ah! Rinse and repeat. So I think Star Trek Discovery has gone on the right path now. I don't like the fact that it's just about the war, but I think by the time they realized the problems with the show, they had to deal with the war. That's why they go into the alternate universe, and now they come back to the regular universe, and everything's screwed up. It's like the first 4 episodes were written by one crew of people, and then whoever's in charge of the show said, this is stupid, and they brought somebody in to fix it. Because remember when Stamets looked like he was evil in that one episode? I'm like, really? They're making him evil?
Yes.
And now he's like an angel. He's this wonderful guy again. And they've cleaned him up. They've cleaned up pretty much everybody. And the one guy who was really horrible and reprehensible is dead.
Yeah.
So now you've got a crew on Discovery who feel like a Star Trek crew. It feels like a bridge crew. It's not just a bunch of, I'm ultra-violent, so am I. Let's hang out and have fun and shoot people in the face. That was never Star Trek.
No.
Star Trek was always the science one, and Star Wars was the fantasy one. And Star Trek Discovery kind of feels like Tarantino at the beginning.
Yeah. See, and that's what I was kind of thinking when you said Quentin Tarantino was.
I don't want.
Episodes,
I don't.
That was so violent.
Yeah, I don't want an R-rated Star Trek.
The torturing and.
I don't want an R-rated Star Trek.
No.
There's no point.
No, that's weird.
It is a horrible idea.
Agreed.
I don't even understand what the point of that would be. Because you look at the best Star Trek movies, like Wrath of Khan is widely regarded as the greatest. And Wrath of Khan for me is one of the greatest movies in history. Easily. It is so brilliant. The fights are awesome. Every shot means something. I'll put it this way. It's in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I'm not going to say where, but it's top 10. And the idea that if Tarantino directed Wrath of Khan, there would have been more scenes of those bugs crawling in the ears, and it would have got really, really grim and really, really gross.
Yeah, gross.
And there would have been swearing when that was going on, cursing and swearing all the way through. And it's, no. I can't even think of the last Tarantino movie that's been really good. Kill Bill Volume 1, I want to say, is the last one I really liked. Jackie Brown was okay. But I would never watch Jackie Brown again. Pulp Fiction's very disturbing.
It is. Indeed.
It is hard to sit through multiple viewings of Pulp Fiction. While it is a fantastic and well-woven movie that I enjoyed in the theater, and when I watched it with my dad thought there was something wrong with me. Every time I laughed, he looked at me like I was an alien. We sat in the theater, and every time I laughed, he's like, why are you laughing at this? This is horrible. I was like, because it's funny. He shot him in the face. I don't see how that's funny. It's gross. But it's funny because he didn't mean to shoot him in the face. So now we get what? In Star Trek, Spock's going to accidentally shoot somebody in the face and then tell Scotty they hit a bump in hyperspace. Like, just, I don't see how that's going to work. The idea of Jim Kirk working with his dad is fantastic. And it's Chris Hemsworth that plays his dad. Remember in the original Star Trek, he's Thor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
yeah.
he's that's part of the reason they want him in Star Trek 4 is name recognition. Because they figure they'll make more money. Because Star Trek Beyond just crapped out at the theater. Even though it is a fantastic Star Trek movie, and you people that didn't see it should be ashamed of yourselves. Seriously, it's a great movie. And it's PG rated. So hopefully Tarantino decides to back off on the R rated. I have no doubt that if Tarantino isn't serious about the R rating, if they're not serious about that part, and if he does a PG rated movie, I have no doubt with Tarantino's gift for gab and his ability to write really good dialogue, you could have a really good movie. Especially scenes of Spock and Bones. Those two together, I think he could write great dialogue between the two of them.
Yeah.
But it's tricky. Because it should feel familiar, but it shouldn't feel like you're copying another movie. Star Trek Into Darkness. We know what you really are. Spock yelling, Khan. Give me a break. So let me in. You give it a 7?
Yeah.
I'll give it an 8.5. I'll give it a solid 8.5. 10 for atmosphere. Probably an 8 for pacing. The acting gets a solid 9. I'll settle on an 8.5. I could be talked into a 9. You know, hopefully the career of Chloe Moritz goes in this direction and not, because that would be upsetting. Very, very good actress. And the kid that plays Owen in this, I don't know that I've seen him in other things since then, but he's very nondescript in this movie.
Right.
So I may have seen him in other things. I really haven't paid much attention to his career since then. Because I think the kid in the Norwegian movie was better than him. I think that for the vampires, I think they're about even, but for the kid next door, I think the kid in the foreign version was better. But that's just me. And you guys can let me know what you think if you've seen it. So, Star Trek Discovery, on the right track. That's a question for people watching this. Star Trek 4 with Quentin Tarantino. I had to look through multiple sources to make sure this wasn't a joke.
Right.
Really?
That doesn't sound right.
Next Star Trek, next Star Wars, Martin Scorsese. No. You know, a Goodfellas version of Star Wars. No. Joe Pesci would be an amazing Sith Lord.
No.
He'd be great. Him and Kylo going at it. That'd be awesome. Although that'd be an R-rated Star Wars too. Because Joe Pesci's not the same if he's not cursing and swearing.
Right.
So that's why I explained in one of my review videos, I can't watch Home Alone in part because Joe Pesci plays an idiot in it. And all I picture him doing is one of his mafia characters, and he's been a mafia character in at least 2 movies. I picture him just shooting the kid in the face and robbing the house blind.
Well, that's just horrible.
Taking one paint can to the head, and then that's it, I'm done, and shoots the kid in the face. And that's it.
That's just disturbing.
That's what Pesci would have done in Goodfellas, and that's what he would have done in Casino. Goodfellas, he shoots a guy in the back of the head, and then he talks about being hungry. While there's brains all over the car. So, you know, that's Joe Pesci. That's why he gets shot in the back of the head so that they can't have an open casket at his funeral. Because he's violent like that. And he shoots the wrong person. As soon as it happens in the movie, you go, oh no. And yeah. But you can't get through Goodfellas, so you'll never know. Oh, more's the pity. All right. So let me know what you guys think. If you haven't seen Let Me In, again, grab the case I dropped. Drop the case. There's Let Me In. There's Chloe Moritz. And the kid on the back, Cody Smith-McPhee. I want to say Cody Smith-McPhee. And it's directed by the filmmaker Matt Reeves, who did Cloverfield. Swedish novel. Let the right one in. Chloe Moritz from Kick-Ass. Cody Smith-McPhee from The Road. I never watched The Road.
Yeah, The Road.
That's got Aragorn in it.
Okay.
So, Owen is a social outcast who's viciously bullied at school, and in his loneliness forms a profound bond with his new neighbor. Owen can't help noticing that Abby is like no one he's ever met before. As a string of grisly murders occupy the town, Owen has to confront the reality that the seemingly innocent girl is really a savage vampire. And then the rest under here is in French, so... But if somebody who speaks French was watching this, I think they would have turned it off already. Because I haven't said a French word yet. Unless one of their names is French.
Does it have both the Canadian and the American rating on here? Does it
Uh,
tell you the difference?
No, but I know this was rated R in the States. It's 14A in Canada. It's rated R in the States because of the F word's in there. No, you know what? The F word's only in there once. It might be PG-13 in the States.
No, it's more than once. The bully.
I thought the bully only said it once.
More than once.
Okay, so it's rated R then. Isn't that a weird rule? If the F word's in there more than once, it's
American
rated
movies
R.
are rated way stricter.
Stupid.
Yes.
Stupid's the word you're looking for.
I've got downsizing though. Downsizing. Rated R in the States. Rated
PG in Canada. So kids can get in if they want. Up here, down the States, no. Must have a parent.
It's weird.
There's either a boob in it or there's a couple F words.
Right.
One or the other. Because boobs are evil. There is a boob in this movie too, so that's probably the problem.
There was a boob.
Literally, a single boob.
A boob.
Yep. All right. That's it from us. Again, let me know what you guys think. Hit like and subscribe. Those buttons are your friends. And your friends don't mind getting smacked, so smack those buttons. Thank you very much for watching. This was me, Shannon. Her name's Shannon as well.
Shannon and Shannon.
Wouldn't that be fun? Then we could call out our own names in bed and it'd be okay. Well, we could.
We could.
That'd be allowed. We could do that anyways, though.
People already think I'm Shannon.
I know.
By calling, hello, Shannon. And they have no idea. I just talked to him.
She's Yvonne.
No idea.
I'm Yvonne. And we're done for now.
We are done.
And I love my hoodie. It's amazing. She's amazing. Yeah. It's awesome. So, Let the Right One In becomes Let Me In. And we discuss Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek 4 and our thoughts on the upcoming Quentin Tarantino Violence Fest. So there's a lot to chew on there, and I'll talk to you again soon.